Good morning. I'm Brian Wright. I'm the author of a book that I'm trying to sell the publishing of. And that's the name of this book is After 9/11 Truth. And I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to discuss how it's a very unique book, and it can be something that would provide to anybody who uses it. It is actually, you can think of it as a modern marketing tool, so that any good idea that you need to reach and you try to sell to others. In this case, I'm trying to sell the idea of I'm trying to target, can show people in the 9/11 truth community how to outreach via personal communication and email primarily to their host of peers of different categories, and to appeal to them in a look, see, say type of approach to convince them to publicly declare, to look at the evidence, to see the evidence, to see the truth, and then to publicly declare for the truth, so that we can have closure and justice for 9/11 and move forward and heal our world. That's what After 9/11 Truth is all about. So I think since the 9/11 attacks, our country has not been the same. I think we can all agree on that, and probably we can agree that it's worse. At least a lot more scary in terms of what the federales can do to us and are already doing to us. And after considerable reading and research, I'm convinced, along with a lot of people, that the official story of 9/11 is a cover-up of an insider high crime, which was intended to justify exactly the pathological government and its corporate partners, if you will, that threaten our lives and liberties. And so that's where I've come to, that's kind of where I came to the notion that, but what's happened is, despite overwhelming amount of information, and evidence, that the official story of 9/11 is like absurd. The fact is that we don't really yet have a method for mopping up, for bringing the perpetrators to justice, for establishing those institutions or reestablishing institutions that can do that, be the grand jury, okay, the suitably independent, grand jury, so we need to be able to develop that and to outreach and to begin to heal people, and so that the other nice thing about coming to the truth about 9/11 and convincing a lot of people to go ahead and make that step, to come out, to say, you know what, it never really made sense to me either. I mean, and it's ludicrous. It's being used to do all these horrible things, and it's just frightening. And so, but a lot of people just, they're reluctant to change. There's a lot of inertia built into the system, and we've all been, conditioned in our upbringing by and large to accept certain sorts of authority, particularly government authority, as legitimate and, out for our interests. Anyway, the other idea is that we need to be sensitive to people who are coming to the truth, because it's just such an emotional upheaval. So what the book does is to summarize the marvelous works that are out there, and I go through a handful of them, but I don't want to get bogged down. These will be in the book. But 9/11 Explosive Evidence Experts Speak Out by Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth is an outstanding video. Behind the Smoke Curtain with Barbara Honegger, focusing on the truth about what happened at the Pentagon. And also, this is where I learned about the importance of this concept of the global truth force. that's called satyagraha. It's a term that Gandhi used, oddly enough, and exactly 100 years before 9/11, 2001. And so it was 9/11, 1901. So she really brings that home, and that's another important point of after 9/11 truth. My focus isn't so much on bringing other massive facts to the table. I'm going to summarize them and hopefully very easily. This booklet's only going to be about 50 pages. It'll be something you can easily hand to people. It'll be available on Kindle. And it's just the main focus is going to be what I call a letter writing closure campaign, or a truth letter closure campaign, so that we reach a stage where the overwhelming majority, and we're pretty close to the overwhelming majority of people, certainly outside the United States, but even in the United States, it's close to becoming a majority anyway, who don't believe the official story of 9/11 for a moment. So these are the people that we need to build on, and then to move forward with the processes, as I mentioned, the concept of the investigation and the grand jury. So so like my letter is a step in that direction. It's a step to broaden and quickly to hasten the advent of 9/11 truth. And the other reason for that, the other reason for hastening the advent of 9/11 truth, is because 9/11 truth, this big lie of 9/11, is at the heart. It's a linchpin issue. It's at the heart of what all these other assaults that are driven by the federal corporate engine. And when, from toxic aerosol spraying to Frankenfoods to smart meters to Agenda 21 to Common Core, you name it, mass surveillance, torture, what have you, all these things are driven by and justified by this 9/11 fantasy. And once we prove that the 9/11 crime was not committed by the people who they say it was committed by, then pretty much the rest of this house of cards, this house of crimes, collapses very quickly. And we need it to collapse very quickly, because right now it looks as if the autocracy or the oligarchy or the pathocracy is doubling down and is committing more and more outrageous crimes against the people every day. So anyway, so that's a great one. Another great one is Anatomy of a Great Deception, local man named David Hooper. Wonderful. He made this movie because it was kind of late in like 2010. He recognized that his questions weren't being answered, and so he delved into it, and he worked with architects and engineers, and he found out, wait a minute, I'm becoming a truther. But his peers, his wife, his family, his friends were rejecting him and ridiculing him. So he decided to make a video, and this is like a world-class, highly polished, good production value video of just every man coming to the truth and how he handled it and how he moved forward. So this is a great common sense truth tool. And I'll mention, well, of course, this is September 11th, The New Pearl Harbor by Massimo Masuko, and I'm not sure I pronounced the name right, but this is a thoroughgoing treatment of all aspects of 9/11. And I have others. I have books. We don't have to get into those, but I'll summarize them in the. I'm going to summarize those in the book in After 9/11 Truth, and then proceed to kind of like this is the important part of what the book After 9/11 Truth is going to do. It's providing a marketing tool. It's helping people understand how they can take any idea, anything in their imagination, and learn how to become self-sufficient, to learn how to market in the modern era, from a shoestring, because I assure you I have a shoestring. This pubslush idea is to kind of get me to like a rope, where I can, pull myself up anyway. And that's the whole idea. So, but the real contribution, aside from moving an intellectual idea, you know, where it's everybody just talking, move it off the dime and get people out and doing things, you know, simple things, risk-free, basically effortless activity to actually implement and infuse the truth and justice and first principles among our friends. What could be more important? And you know, that works for any this technique that I'm putting together, which is actually this is an action book, you know. And so I'm looking for people to go to PubSlush and to help me with some funding, you know. And there's different levels, and there's one level at $50 of the reward where you actually participate in the sales revenue from the book. So I'm looking forward to your help. I have a pretty good track record. These are books I've published for other people and companies. And my site is brianrwright.com/publish, all lowercase, PUBLISH. And then the rest. These are my own books that I published through CreateSpace mainly. And I just wanted to say, and I think that's about all I want to say really. Just that 9/11 truth. Aside from the fact that this book can be a good investment, it can be a good manual for anyone who doesn't have a lot of money but has great ideas to actually get that idea into the public realm, you know, where we typically do not have any really mainstream access. So we can kind of turn the world upside down, just as we're going to do when 9/11 truth becomes real, because it really is a revolution, and there are a lot of people that are in high places who will be going away for a long time. And I want to say, you know, as much as I'll miss them, I do want to say that, and this is again from the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth site. 9/11 Truth is good for America. Now, I don't know who put that campaign together, but thank you. And I kind of stolen from it. It's good for America because it stops wars of aggression. It ends torture, terror, and rendition, and crimes against humanity. It ceases unconstitutional spying. It halts global empire and the police state. It indicts those responsible for the attacks, also those responsible for other genocidal, high-crime federal assaults on the people. It thwarts acts of false flag state terror, stage massacres, and other black ops. And you know that the fraud media continue to impose on us as if they're truth. And typically what they do is they just ignore things. You know, they just ignore facts. And fundamentally, okay, it reestablishes the government, it reestablishes the country's first principles. We hold these truths to be self-evident, Declaration of Independence. It replenishes liberty, justice, peace, jobs, and abundance. So I hope you'll help me out and go to the PubSlush site. Again, that's Brian R. Wright, and many of you will already be here. But it's pubslush.com. It's after911truth.pubslush.com. So thank you for your attention. Happy New Year. Oh, shit.